Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for coming. Just to let everyone know that this session is recorded, and we will start the night, inshallah, with a Quran recitation from our president, Hamza Dalil.
Thank you very much. قال الله عز وجل in سورة الرعد آية 28 أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. The meaning of this ayah is the people who have believed and their hearts become they have peace with the remembrance of Allah, and verily through the remembrance of Allah do the hearts find peace.
Just to introduce myself, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Shukriya, and I'm the Vice President of the National Honor Society Chapter here at BHA. I would like to first thank you all for attending and hope that this will be a great way for everyone to finish off this year and into the next with some advice that we can all benefit from, inshallah. On the agenda tonight, we will start with our speakers sharing with us a few words, and after the speakers are done, we will then have a Q&A session, inshallah, in which you may type your questions into the chat privately to Ms. Hanan. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our speakers. Ms. Alaa is a licensed clinical social worker and works in the public school setting, providing counseling to children and their families, and has also been a therapist within the local Muslim community in San Diego for 15 years. She's also been trained in Islamic psychology and trauma work and is passionate about mental health, especially when it comes to supporting Muslim youth, speaking out against the stigma with seeking help, and bridging social and cultural divides. We also have Sister Zuhaira Abu Bakr, who got her master's in counseling from Southern Methodist University and has taught for 7 years. She has also been working as a school counselor for 8 years. Please welcome Sister Alaa and Sister Zuhaira Abu Bakr.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's nice to kind of see you, some of you. Okay. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy to be here. I want to thank the young people at the Islamic School, Bright Horizons, and for having such an initiative with this important, necessary with Muslim teens. Thank you for having us. It's really an honor to be able to share our ideas and thoughts and expertise on this. So I wanted to start, please, next slide. Okay, so the questions that I had initially were, what do you know about mental health? What do you hope to learn today? What is one thing you hope to share with your friends and family about today? And do you know of any mental health professionals in the community, in the Muslim community, local, Arabic or Somali or Afghan community? And you know what they do, basically. So I think we have a couple of questions. Oh no, it's just, is it better? Let's see, we had one chat. Mental health is an important aspect in being happy. Yes, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so what is mental health and why is it important? So according to mentalhealth.gov, mental health includes a lot of different aspects, including emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we act, how we respond to certain stressors and situations. It also helps determine how we handle stress, how we relate to others as like family and friends, and make choices in our lives. Also, mental health is important at every stage of life, from even, they say here childhood, but if you think there's studies now that mental health can be affected even when we're developing in our mother's womb, subhanAllah, it's so amazing. The research into infancy, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. Also, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to put this. There we go. So mental health in Islam, I just want to say, disclaimer. Sometimes I've run into people in my practice, either older adults or, parents, they say, Islam teaches you that we just pray and make dua and you know what, everything will be okay. Yes, of course, we pray and make dua and everything will be okay, inshallah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also given us these tools and these ideas about mental health And they don't clash. I think in actuality, mental health and Islam work beautifully together. Just understand that mental health is not a new concept. It's not a recent Western concept. And you'll see this as I go on. So we know that the Quran aims to lead people to a meaningful quality of life, because Allah mentions in the Quran the nafs. There's the nafs al-lawama, the nafs al-mutma'inna in the Quran, and how to control the nafs through spiritual ways. Also, Allah teaches us that we need to rely on Him and trust Him, because that'll help us reduce our worry, and also to be optimistic in His plans for us. And so here's a ayah from the Quran, Surah Yunus. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في الصدور وهدى رحمة للمؤمنين. So we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent what is healing for our hearts. And in my thinking is hearts and minds. I mean, this is something internal and a mercy for the believers. So for me, this is like a strong link to mental health. Here are some sayings. I just want you to look through them. I'm not going to read them all, but I mean, this also supports the concept that even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a big proponent of taking care of yourself, your mental health, your mind and body. There's a huge connection there. One hadith that I always used to reference when I was a counselor at the Islamic school is, the strongest among you is the one who controls his anger, not the one who pushes someone down or wrestles them down. I think this was related to Omar, right? Yes? Yes. So, you know, and also that when a thing disturbs the peace of your heart, give it up. So, you know what, things that bother us or make us nervous or angry, you know, we shouldn't fixate on those things. So here's mental health in Islamic history. So we have some very famous scholars, doctors, physicians. For example, Al-Razi was the first Muslim physician who introduced the methods of psychotherapy. Psychotherapy just means like psychology practice, so how you treat psychology or the illness of the mind. Ibn Sina, which you'll see there's a picture of here of one of his writings, was the major influence upon the history of Islamic psychology, because he took the ideas of the ancient Greek philosophers and adapted them to fit our Islamic teachings. And also another, there's so many, but here are just a few. Al-Ghazali, he was a firm believer that introspection and self-analysis were keys to understanding mental health issues. So we see that Islam, mental health is not a foreign concept to Islam. I think on the contrary, we have so much to offer. Zaira, you want to share anything before we continue? Zaira?
You're good.
Okay, okay. So mental health in you. Okay, so we talked about mental health, but what does this have to do with you as a Muslim teen? So there's so many ways that we can take care of your mental health as a young Muslim, because we know that doing so increases physical health, it increases your mood, makes you feel better, you do better at school and with your relationships with your friends and family, community, beyond. We also don't talk about mental health, which can result in the worry and the anxiety and the depression. Because like I said, maybe our family or friends or our communities think that it's a stigma issue or a taboo. And so we don't really talk about those things that are going on. And so that leads to a lot of unhealthy coping strategies. And that's what we're going to talk about next. But let's start with making healthy choices. So we've kind of broken this down to numerous strategies to build that mental health. And one of the first things that you can do as a teenager is to make those healthy choices. And healthy choices means getting enough sleep, physical activity, because when you get enough sleep and get out there into the world and run or exercise, it's linked to a better mood, and it increases the happy chemicals in your brain. Because, you know, when your body is rested and you increase your heart rate, there's a reduction of stress, and all sorts of cool things happen. So I know that teenagers don't get a lot of rest. I think at your age, it's between 9 and 11 hours that you should be resting, because studies have shown that if young people get less sleep than what they need, cortisol rises, which is, it's kind of like a unhappy chemical in your brain. It can lead to frustration, you know, bad moods. It can lead to just kind of hypervigilance, anger. And so really, subhanAllah, sleep is medical. Also, drinking enough water and eating healthy foods keeps your mind sharp and healthy as well.
All right, so I think we're gonna now focus on stress and anxiety. And basically, like what Ms. Alaa said, it's really, really important for us. I know there's that stigma in the Muslim community, you know, if you pray, everything will be solved. There is no depression in Islam. Open the Quran and read it. Although those things do help us tremendously. However, we cannot ignore that depression, anxiety, stress, all those things are absolutely 100% real, right? So what we want to focus on is the importance of being very well-rounded, right? So focusing on your mind, body, and soul. All three of those things give you a healthy lifestyle, like all 360, right? You know how you always see those like things on like bulletin boards or anything about yoga, it's always mind, body, and soul. But if you think about it, it's literally what Islam incorporates all those things in one. So stress and anxiety, I feel, are like the number one thing, at least YC. I work at Brighter Horizons Academy in Dallas, Texas, and I work in an Islamic school. And a lot of times we think that because we're in an Islamic school or we're Muslims, oh, we don't go through these things, but we do. I mean, we see kids that cut, we see kids that are depressed, stressed, anxiety for sure. You know, at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we all go through different emotions, which are absolutely 100% how do we deal with these stressors, or how do we deal with these emotions and these feelings. So like, let's talk about anxiety. So it can manifest in so many different ways. um, for some people it might look in a certain way, others it may look differently. Some people go through psychosomatic symptoms, which literally are physical symptoms. You'll feel headaches. If you look at that picture right there, you feel stomach aches, you literally forget, you can't sleep at night. All these different physical feelings that you're actually feeling, those are actually a lot of times due to your stress and anxiety. I don't know if you've ever heard people say that stress is the number one killer. There is some truth to that, right? Because it really affects every aspect of our body, right? Mind, body, and soul again. So your mind gets affected, you're worrying too much, you're overthinking. Your body, if you're not sleeping enough, that affects you physically. You just don't feel like doing anything. And then your soul, when you're feeling down, you're really not even that connected anymore. You don't maybe want to pray, you don't want to make dua, you're just kind of in a dark place. So what's really important is sometimes for us to just kind of stop and be able to recognize what those feelings are. Hey, is this maybe because I didn't eat right? Or is this because I'm worried or I'm anxious or I'm stressed? Can you go to the next slide? So then we go back to fear and worry. These two emotions again are so normal, but they're also they're linked to stress and anxiety. And sometimes you don't know what's causing the other. Sometimes anxiety and stress cause fear and worry, and then it's like vice versa. Sometimes you're afraid or you're worried, and that can cause you to get stressed or anxious. And again, I really like to emphasize that these are very normal feelings and we need to be able to embrace them. And going back to the fact that we need to know what to do with these feelings. What do we worry about? Everything. We're living in a time right now where everything is, a trigger. Everything is worrisome. Everything causes anxiety. I mean, 2020, you guys have seen all the memes about how horrible this year has been, from everything politically that this country is going through, what the world is going through with COVID. COVID has hit everybody, no matter what race, what religion, what financial status. It's really been a chance for all humanity to kind of humble, right? Humility for humanity, if you think about it. And so now everyone, you even have celebrities stressed and anxious. So it's a very common universal feeling that everyone's feeling. We've had elections, we've had fires. At least at our school, a lot of our children, a lot of our students were very affected with Kobe Bryant's death. So there's a lot of things that have happened, and we're literally at the end of the year, right? So it's really hard to even want to kind of be optimistic for 2021, right? But then again, that's up to us to kind of be able to focus on those positive thoughts. And that's where it goes back to, I know it's really hard and these things might sound cliche, but to really trust in Allah's plan, because at the end of the day, we know that Allah, does all these things and there's always a reason behind everything that He chooses for us. And again, stress, worry, fear, anxiety, these are all normal, but it's just when we let them consume us, it becomes really unhealthy. In the 7 S's for overcoming fear, You guys need to check out Define 360. They have really, really nice things for the youth, for parents, for anyone. So these are like very simple things. Again, it looks like cliche, but if we really take the time to, incorporate these things about keeping our faith, feeling safe, making that extra dua. There's all these things now about meditating and yoga and breathing, which we'll talk about later. And everyone's doing it now. But if you just go back to the roots of Islam, even Miss Alaa said that we were like one of the first, Muslims were the first people to even incorporate or acknowledge, like it says, the nafs, right? So if we take the time to meditate, when in reality, there's 5 prayers, right? There's those 5 fards that we do. If we really actually took the time and prayed the right way, we would feel better. But in reality, we're always rushing. Our khushu' is down the drain half the time, right? So we're not taking that time to pray and connect with Allah. And when we do small steps like that, we will see a difference. And I'm not saying we're all human at the end of the day, and it's a lot easier said than done. It's just with practice. Next. All right, so now we talked about stress, anxiety, fear, worry. Now we're gonna focus on the things that we can control, right? Things that we can't control, obviously, are a lot of things. You can't control what color your eyes are. You can't control who your parents are. You can't control where you came from when you were born. So many things you can't control. We can't control that Corona happened. We can't control death. So many things. You can even see this little image. We can't control what people think of us, what people say to us. That is going back to the things that we can and we should focus on, right? So the things that we can control. We can control the choices we make. We can control our attitude. I'm sure you guys have heard of the saying that happiness is a choice. Do you ever wonder why, like when you see people in third world countries or war-torn countries, and you see these children that literally have nothing, no shoes on, the background, there's like crumbled buildings and rocks and it horrible and smoke. And then you see these kids laughing and smiling. Yeah, we're in here stuck in our homes and we feel like life is just shattering, right? Again, those kids have chosen to be happy, and even in the midst of the worst situations ever, right? They couldn't control the war, they couldn't control the country they're in, but what they could control is making the best out of whatever they had and choosing that happiness. When we focus on what we can't control, it becomes a very scary process. We can easily dig a hole for ourselves, right? And then we can't get out. So that's why it's really important, again, to focus on the things that we can control. With COVID, for example, it says right here, turning off the news. I found that very helpful. I stopped watching the news. You have social media. Oh my God, that stuff is so addicting that there's literally people going into therapy for the addiction of social media. And then we're going to go back at the end to focus on what Allah has taught us. So many resources that He's given us, the Quran, praying, making dua, and things of that sort. Okay. Next slide. All right. So again, I know I keep going back to cliche. So there's this like really cute little flyer talking about the things that kind of help. And again, what helps you might not help someone else. You guys live in California. You guys are so lucky that you can just go outside and smell that fresh air. You guys have access to free beaches. I think that even with COVID, sometimes we literally forget that we can go out and do things for free. We just get so like caught up in being at home and watching TV or just on our phones that we forget that we can just get out and breathe and walk. Also, I think it's really important about making the best out of your surroundings, right? Sometimes people will put a plant that gives oxygen. Sometimes people need to they need to fix their surrounding, maybe put a curtain up. It's just really important for you. I think there's a lot of studies actually that show that your surrounding really affects you, right? So if you're in like a really dark place and you don't have lighting, it affects your mood. There's a lot of people, for example, who have like seasonal depression. So the weather outside, if it's like sunny, you feel better. So there's a lot of things that, we can do that can help us. And this is where I'd love to ask you guys, like, what are some things that have helped you throughout maybe 2020? Whether it's COVID, did you have family members that had it? What works for you might not work for someone else. I know like at school, we have a lot of kids that started new habits and new hobbies. Some people bought pets, some people started like working out. What are some things that you guys have done that you feel like truly has helped you. And maybe we can share those things out loud. I don't know, Miss Alaa, if anyone's sending any comments or
Yes, we have one. I started a garden. Actually, we have our little patio, and my 6-year-old and I, we grew some roses, and we have a lemon tree. So that's been really fun. Anybody else want to share? I make dua and talk to Allah, and it calms me. Thank you, Damien.
I love that.
Anybody else? Tai Chi. Omar says he does Tai Chi.
Nice.
Suleiman saying he thinks about the good things instead of the bad.
Love that.
These are awesome ideas. Keep on coming. Inshallah.
Very nice. Like focusing on what you can control. I really love that last one that you said. Focusing on the good things. I love that.
Making handcrafted soap. We have photography.
Nice.
Driving. Baking. Oh yes, baking is fun. MashaAllah. You guys are on it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Art. Spending time with the pet. All right. So another way we can build mental health for young Muslims is to establish a routine and a structure. I know sometimes, especially now with being at home, like Ms. Zaira said, it's really easy to just kind of throw routine out the window, you know, veg out on your couch or in your bed and play video games all day. But really that does nothing to build your mental health. It's actually quite negative, and it's really not helpful. So what we recommend as mental health professionals is to set a routine, because when you set a routine, it helps you know what to expect throughout the day, the night. And when you know what to expect next, it really reduces that anxiety and worry. I know Sheikh Abdul Jalil says this a lot in his khutbahs, I've heard it, and a lot of mental health. We think about the past, it causes depression. And then when we think about the future or what's to come next, that causes anxiety. And I find that true. Like, you know what? I know I'm a worry wart. I love to worry. You can ask my husband, my mom, like I can sometimes really worry myself into a dark hole, like Zuhaira said. But that really doesn't do anything for us. So when we set those routines, we know what to expect, and that kind of helps calm us down. So think about it. Do you guys have a set wake up routine? Like, what do you do when you wake up? You pray Fajr, you wash your face, brush your teeth, eat breakfast, then you hop on Zoom. Do you read a book? Do you draw? What's your bedtime routine? What time are you getting to bed? Do you read Quran before you bed? Do you read a leisure book before bed? Make sure that you incorporate those important things. You know, for younger kids, we say, you know, brush your teeth every night before bed and wear your pajamas every night, you know, but I'm sure you guys are teenagers, you don't need those reminders. But also, do you have a regular time to do your homework? Or what time do you go out, like for basketball or baseball or soccer? Doing things regularly at those certain times helps you know what to expect, like we said before. And Salah is so beautiful because it helps us keep that schedule. Like we know what to expect. Okay, so Dhuhr is at this time, Asr is at this time. And it helps to build that structure within our day. So instead of times we can say, okay, so I will do homework after Asr, or before Maghrib, I'll read 2 chapters of my book, something like that. So here's an example. It's a really nice visual because it talks about, like, you know, the science-backed and the sunnah-backed kind of structure and routine. Science says that it helps to wake up at wake up at the same time every morning, eat a healthy breakfast, drink a glass of water or tea or coffee. I am a coffee addict. Read a book or a journal, exercise, meditate, pray, take advantage of a power hour, or when you're most productive, you just kind of like go through it. Do a to-do list. The Sunnah teaches us to wake up early, to pray witr, pray Fajr, read morning adhkar, sit at the same place until the sun rises, and just have that, you know, thinking, and then, you know, take care of your family, because that's also very big. So another way to build mental health is to manage your stress and identify coping strategies. So as young people, as adolescents, your body and your mind are going through a constant state of change. May Allah help you. It's not easy to go through puberty, to go through hormones. I mean, I'm not that old. I remember going through puberty, right? It's kind of hard. It's everything is changing. Your voice, your body, your brain, like the structures of your brain are actually changing. It's pretty incredible. You know, and those changes bring about confusion, you know, feelings of just like, what's going on? So it's okay to seek out help. You know, be close to Allah through your prayer, your reading Quran, you know, study the lives of the prophets, because when we do that, it helps us remember that we're not the only ones going through hardships. So it helps us kind of relate. Also, mindfulness and breathing exercise, we'll get to that shortly. Spending time outdoors in nature and reading for fun is also pretty amazing. I was listening to something last week on the radio that said that there's actual like psychotherapeutic treatment. It was called ecotherapy, which means basically the psychologist would prescribe walking in nature, like in a forest, especially with the color green. I think my mom would appreciate this. When you see greenery, trees, plants, bushes, it does something good for your brain. So subhanAllah, it's pretty amazing. And always, and I'll emphasize this throughout the presentation, talking to a trusted adult is so important. I'll talk about that more later. So here's a little clip. I guess I'll play it. And it talks about, so here's another thing that might be a little touchy. I know some people who say like mindfulness, meditation, doesn't go with my Islam. That's actually false. The Yaqeen Institute is a very well-respected, well-known institute with Sheikh, is it Omar Suleiman, Zaira? And awesome, like I love listening to him. He leads so many cool initiatives. So this is talking about how to be a mindful Muslim. Let me know if the sound works.
How to be a mindful Muslim, based on an article by Justin Parrott.
It works.
What if there was a simple way for you to control your brain in all aspects of your life? Whether it's being able to overcome procrastination, or being able to focus better in your prayers, or just improving your overall quality of life, both spiritually and temporally. The fact is, there is a way to be in control of yourself, and it's backed by both contemporary science and Islamic tradition. You may have heard of the concept of mindfulness. It's a mental state of self-awareness achieved by focusing on the present. Think of a straight line. One end represents a state of being unmindful. This is where you react to your thoughts and emotions in a knee-jerk fashion and let them control you. If something makes you angry, you just get angry. If you feel lazy, you just don't bother doing anything. On the other end of the line is the state of mindfulness. This is where you have the ability to choose to follow or not follow your thoughts and desires. Basically, you control your actions. If something makes you angry, you don't just react. If you're feeling lazy, you're able to overcome it. Studies have shown that practicing mindfulness decreases stress, emotional reactivity, depression, and anxiety, while improving memory, focus, and personal relationships, and increasing empathy and compassion. There are many different types of mindfulness practices, like meditation, but we'll get to that in a moment. Mindfulness in the Islamic context is very similar to something called muraqabah. Achieving muraqabah means being in a complete state of vigilant self-awareness in one's relationship with Allah in heart, mind, and body. Basically, being in the state of muraqabah means knowing and finding peace in the fact that Allah is always watching you at all times, both inwardly and outwardly, and consequently, developing greater attention and care for your thoughts, actions, feelings, and inner states of being. Done right, muraqabah has a twofold result. In this world, you will be able to reach a state of calm and contentment. And in the next world, you will be able to achieve a state of eternal calm and joy in paradise. Muraqabah is a means to reach the highest spiritual state in Islam, ihsan, or spiritual excellence. Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see Him, which naturally brings us back to that state of self-awareness. So how can we actually achieve this? For that, we have to understand how they're actually practiced. Remember when we mentioned meditation? Meditation is a practice in mindfulness, and there is secular meditation and Islamic meditation. The difference between the two can be traced back to the 4 aspects of muraqabah. According to renowned Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, muraqabah is realized in number 1, knowing or being aware of the Almighty. Number 2, knowing the enemy, Iblis or Satan. Number 3, knowing your soul's capacity to suggest evil or being aware of yourself. And number 4, knowing the deeds to be done for the sake of Allah.
All right, so there was a little blurb about Islamic mindfulness, and we see that it is very tied into awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being mindful that He is constantly watching you and aware of you, your actions and your thoughts. And also, like for me, muraqabah also means just, or mindfulness is that, you know, we're constantly in awe of Allah's creations for us. Like when we do go out in nature, or I love going to the beach and just watching the waves. I mean, that's like, you know, so it's just an amazing like appreciation for Allah's creation for us. Like He made this for us, subhanAllah. So any thoughts, Zaira, on mindfulness?
No, I mean, I love how Yaqeen Institute summarizes these things, and I really think you guys should look them up. I actually have the app on my phone, and I'm always like listening to them. Sheikh Amr Sulaiman lives here, so we're actually really lucky to have him in our community. I do want to add, Alaa, you said very important how, like, you know, you love the beach, and, you know, you were saying like ecotherapy, even sound is very therapeutic for people. Tasbih is very therapeutic. There's actually been studies on how tasbih itself is therapeutic and actually healing in so many ways, whether you use your fingers, which is more recommended, of course, or using beads. Going back to sound, you know, a lot of people have fountains, or a lot of times when you go to, like, again, yoga, and like Ms. Alaa said, I know there's like a lot of iffy things with that, with like Islam or meditation, but you'll always hear like sounds of nature. They're always playing those sounds, and whether it's like the waves or like the wind, those things are really, really helpful. And you guys have the best backgrounds. Like you live in LA, or I mean California, sorry. So you guys need to take advantage of that. Some of us don't have that.
How to be a mindful Muslim, based on an article by Justin Parrott.
Thank you. No. All right. I think okay. So go ahead.
All right, so speaking of the breathing exercises we mentioned earlier, again, I keep saying cliche or corny, whatever it may be, but it's actually a fact that over 80% of us don't even breathe the right way. We're always in like a hurry or flight or fight like way of life, that we don't even breathe the right way. So these are just some ways that we can breathe, and no one's watching you guys, so you guys can actually try them. And if you're doing it the right way, you really will find, you will feel even a difference. So this one is actually really easy. So sometimes people need to focus. Sometimes, most of the time, we say close your eyes and envision this or that, which I'll do in the next exercise. But a lot of times people need something like concrete, something to look at, something to hold. You have your hands at all times, alhamdulillah. So it's really super simple. I mean, you guys can see it. You can hold your hands up, and it shows you where you start. You know, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, right? But it's not just about breathing in and breathing out. If you go to the next slide, we can show you guys about holding that breath in. So there's this like really cute, it's going in and out, and I'll explain to you guys. So we're breathing in when it gets smaller, and then when it starts blooming, we're gonna breathe out, and you'll see it pause because we have to hold in. So when we're breathing in, this is where we can maybe close our eyes, but I think for now you need to watch the little flower bloom. When we breathe in, we're going to kind of imagine that we're breathing in all the clear, pure air. And then when we breathe out, we're literally letting all our toxins, negative energy, negative thoughts out. So we can try it together as it gets smaller. So this is like the breathing out part. And now we're going to breathe in through our noses, hold it, and then breathe out slowly through our mouths. And you'll feel it. So you breathe in through your nose, hold it, and then breathe out. And we can try it one more time. Breathe in through your nose, hold it, and breathe out. Awesome. And guys, really, really try this. You can try it later if you guys don't want to do it now, but it really, really makes a difference, especially if we're doing it the right way. The next slide is...
I want to know who really tried it.
I know. I really wish you guys do. And you can close your eyes. If you want, we can do one right now where you guys close your eyes and we can facilitate it. You guys don't have to look at the flower. So there's a star, there's a rug, there's this very famous It's called either the lazy 8 or figure 8. So like the prayer rug is actually from square breathing, and then the star breathing. So this is a really cute mindful Muslim company that kind of added an Islamic touch to it. But for example, like with the star, when you breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, it shouldn't really be that fast, right? So you're really supposed to hold it in. So for example, if we're breathing in right now, if you guys want to close your eyes, Miss Alaa, can you do it so that way I can see and like, can you,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
Okay, so we'll do the square breathing. Oh, you want me to do it? Okay.
Yeah. So that way, like other people can kind of see what we're doing. So you guys can close your eyes if you want. And if you think this is corny, that's fine. It will only last like not even half a minute. And then when you breathe out, you're going to breathe out through your chest, through your mouth, and you're going to feel it. You can even put your hand on your chest to feel breathing in and breathing out. So Bismillah, we're going to start. We'll breathe in slowly through your nose, literally inhale all the air. Like imagine that you're taking in all the air in the room, and we hold it for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to exhale very slowly through our mouths, and we'll do it again. We'll do it like 3 times. So breathe in, hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. Breathe in, hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. It's just simple things like that. I don't know, Miss Alaa, you know, sometimes if you do it and you're really, really focused on that breath, it really does make a difference. And there's so many different ways. You guys can even look online. When you're sitting, praying, after you pray and you want to make that tasbih, breathing in, breathing out, you literally feel it like all that air filling up your lungs. You feel that. And then when you let out and you're being mindful, I think that's where mindfulness comes in, that even when you're breathing or when you're praying or when you're eating or whatever you're doing in your daily life, if you're being mindful of it in that moment and that's all you're focusing on, which is so important, like breathing, and you're focusing on your breath that you take in and you're focusing on the breath that you take out, and you're literally imagining that I'm letting out all the negative energy, all the negative feelings for that moment, it does make a difference. But sometimes it's just too hard to even do that. We're not able to focus and to take that moment and to really take advantage of that one moment that we have to breathe in and breathe out. It might sound lame, but it works.
It does. No, thank you for leading that, because you do feel a sense. I mean, you kind of have to focus on your posture and breathe. And this is actually one prescribed for my clients with anxiety. So we do the grounding exercises, focusing on the things that are around them, what they hear, what they see, what they smell, what they can touch. Breathing exercises is super big as well. So this is like one of the prescriptions, actually, subhanAllah, and it does work. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys want to type in the chat how that felt, if this was the first time you've ever tried something like this, notice any changes in your body or your mind when you did that. Okay.
And this really just summarizes mindfulness, breathing, and how it helps us. So like really incorporating our daily supplications, our du'as, our tasbih, being in the here and the now really makes a difference. And just going back to the things that Ms. Alaa said, staying healthy and strong, you know, you are what you eat. There's amazing books out with the prophetic, his medicine, medicine even from the Quran, his favorite foods, I think like cucumbers and dates and olive oil and things of that sort. SubhanAllah, now people are coming back and saying, hey, these are the things you need to do. And the black seed, the power of the black seed, or black seed oil, habat al-barakah. All these things are coming back now, when if we were really following it from the get-go, you know, we would probably be in a better state. And reaching out to someone, right? Take advantage of the resources that you have. If you can't see someone, or a therapist, or a counselor, there's so many things online right now. So sometimes we don't want to see someone face to face, but now kind of, you know, COVID has been a blessing in disguise. You know, there's a lot of things now with teletherapy. There's a lot of things even where you can download websites, apps like the Yaqeen Institute one, all those different things, reaching out to even sometimes family members, even though I think it's better to reach out to somebody that's outside. It's more like a conflict of interest, somebody that you feel like won't judge you. And that's kind of what we do. We really have a no judgment zone. And then really, I know we keep going back to this breathing exercise, these grounding techniques, but anything that you try the first or second time won't really do much. But when you make it a habit, and I think it takes what, like 30 days for a habit to actually, form. And it's just kind of like a month. It takes about a month. And you think when we're fasting, Ramadan's about 30 days. So by the time Ramadan's over, it's really hard not to fast. You're in that mode. So those are just kind of like things that summarize everything we've been talking about.
Right. I want to talk about consumption. So we've talked about, eating healthy, drinking a lot of water. I don't think I mentioned soda. Not a good idea to have too much soda and sugar, because sugar does kill your brain cells. But what I also want to talk about what we consume on social media. And I know Ms. Zaira has touched upon social media, but we know that social media consumption has a huge, huge, huge impact on teen mental health. What do you think I mean by that? Just think about it. Like, okay, so I'm kind of old, but I do know TikTok is really big right now. Before it was, what is it called? The one before TikTok, Snapchat. Is that still big? I don't know. Facebook, Instagram, all of those platforms. I've noticed, and research has shown that, especially among young females, increased social media use equals increased levels of depression. Why? A lot of us growing up, we don't think we're pretty enough or skinny enough or, whatever. We see all these social media influencers and big names and the way that they look and what they post and what they're wearing or not wearing. And we think, wow, like this is the image of perfection, or this is what every young woman or every young man has to look like. And so when we compare ourselves to those images, of course, we're going to start to feel bad about ourselves. We're going to have poorer mental health, poorer self-esteem, increased rates of sadness, depression, all sorts of things, because it's like, why don't we look like that? But all of that is so fake, like it's airbrushed. I don't know how many layers of makeup they wear, or how many surgeries they've done just to look like that. Or maybe it's just the lighting, or it's not real. People don't look like that. And I just want to touch upon, there's also, and we can't deny that, some of our young people watch inappropriate materials, and all of that is not realistic either when it comes to having real marriage relationships. That's all setting us up for disaster. So we need to know that, yeah, social media is great. It's a great way to connect with friends, with family abroad, overseas, with cousins, everything. It's awesome. Like, multiplayer video games. I'm not gonna lie, I play Among Us with one of my like 5th grade, 6th grade clients. Those things are fun. But we have to watch out not to let it consume us, because like I said, if we can use our time more productively, if we think about, is my time in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is it helping me be closer to Allah? Is it helping me be closer to my family? Even with gaming, video games, I know a lot of young people spend a lot of time gaming, either online or on their PS5s now, I guess. So we just have to think, yeah, it's fun to escape, it's fun to kind of, let go of reality, but we do have to bring it back. Please watch what you consume online. Social media can be a dangerous tool. Gaming, inappropriate videos, clips, just be careful. It can be really easy, like Ms. Zaira said, to get sucked into that and have it just kind of healthy spot. So if you find yourself kind of getting there, reach out for help, talk to a trusted adult, a parent, a teacher, a principal, a counselor if you can. But watch what you consume. Also, I want to talk about something called positive self-talk. Has anybody heard of what this means? Maybe, yes, okay, I see some hands. Oh, someone typed in the chat about social media. People judging themselves, I think social media really affects that. Yes, judging yourself. And like we talked about, self-esteem. So this also, positive self-talk also ties into self-esteem. So we know that we try to treat others with love and kindness. We try to, be compassionate. We try to be kind and helpful. But why is it that when we come to ourselves, we don't treat ourselves that way? Sometimes we're our harshest critics. Like we talk to ourselves in the worst ways, like I'm so ugly, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not this enough or that enough. And so all of that's gonna push us down and make us not love who we are. And that should be the opposite of where we're at. We want to make sure that we have healthy self-esteem, because it is one of the ways that you build mental health, and positive talk improves self-esteem. So what do I mean by positive self-talk? Look over here on the side. You have to tell yourselves, and especially with Islam, تفاءلوا بالخير تجدوه. When we are optimistic about things, Allah will give us that, or we will find optimism, we will find good things. Things will get better, inshallah. The whole point of saying inshallah, I think, is pretty amazing, if Allah wills it. So we also have that reliance on Allah. You believe that I am important, I am worthy of good things, I am lovable. You know what, the best is yet to come. Things like that. Hold on. It's just not right now. There we go. Sorry, formatting. And so here are some an Islamic perspective. You know what? And my recommendation, I want you guys to read through these, but for me, I'm a visual learner. So if I write something, it's gonna help me internalize it. It's gonna help me learn it and memorize it and just kind of keep it in my brain. Post them, draw them. If you're really good at art, you can make a really beautiful picture of one and just post it above your bed. You know what, we understand that. And the first one is just so powerful, that Allah is the most merciful. So I should be merciful with myself and others. When I turn to Allah, He turns to me. I'll practice gratitude and patience daily. I'm capable of good things and doing good things. So my question, if you'd like to share, do you guys have any affirmations that you use, or would you like to share some yourself? Someone put on the text that telling yourself good things about you, or the things you can do, instead of focusing on things you can't do or not have. Yes, absolutely. So when we focus on that, I don't know, have your teachers taught you about growth mindset? Is that something that is Shukriya or anybody? Okay, so growth mindset is this concept that, we're not there yet, but we'll get there, inshallah. And so that applies to learning, education, mental health, everything. Someone said it is qadr. I can't change, but what I can change is the way that I react to it. That's very beautiful. Jazakallah khair. Be allergic to average. Someone says, if it's meant for me, it will come to me. Absolutely. Those are beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So when we talk about positive affirmations, positive self-talk, it's there's a saying called fake it till you make it. Even though you're not there, you tell yourself these things, and then eventually, if it's part of your daily real, it'll become true. So just say those positive things to yourself and you'll start to internalize them, inshallah. Someone said saying everything will be okay no matter how hard something is now. Yes. All right. So we want to get into a couple more things. We're almost done. How are we on time? Are we way over time, Shukriya?
No, you guys are good.
Okay. So we have a lot, and I know we shared so much. Do you need a brain break, or should we just keep going?
It's up to you guys. I think it's good.
Okay, so we'll keep going. This is one of the biggest things that I'd like you guys to really kind of think about is setting goals. And goals are a great way of supporting your team mental health, because when we have goals, we have something to live for. We have something to look forward to. It teaches us responsibility. It promotes a positive can-do attitude. It forms a habit that is really lifelong, that you develop in your youth, and you carry it into adulthood, into your own families and your work life as well. So I have just 4 steps to goal setting. They're kind of long and drawn out, but I really want you to focus, because after we talk about these 4 steps to goal setting, I would like you to start thinking about a goal, because I have a worksheet and I want you just to like think about a goal that you've wanted to accomplish and see if these 4 steps will help you apply, to apply it to your goal. So here's just a little picture. It says a goal without a plan is just a wish. Right? It's so easy to like wish, oh, I'm going to do this when I grow up, or I'm going to be this when I grow up. But it's like, what are we doing for that to actually happen? How is that going to materialize? So number 1 is think about something that you really want to achieve. Could it be a better salah routine? Could it be reading regularly or improving on your grades? Could it be controlling your anger more effectively? It could be anything. In the near future, or I find it better as if it's something that you want to achieve in the near future versus in like kind of far away, because it's harder to stay motivated for like a goal that you want for a long time. Number 2 is, what is the purpose of your goal? It's really important to think about purpose. Like, why do you want to achieve this goal? Is it something good, beneficial to myself? Is it going to make me a better person, a better student, a better Muslim, a better daughter, a better friend? You know, how can I help others? Because subhanAllah, like when our goals are tied to helping others, they are more achievable. And this is something that maybe we can talk about more, but when we give of ourselves, when we volunteer our time, when we volunteer our efforts, that actually helps improve mood and mental health. It's like we're doing something for the greater good, for a bigger purpose, for the sake of Allah. And so we know that that's actually so beneficial. So think about those 2 things. Number 3 is break the big goal into smaller steps. Sometimes we have hefty dreams and hefty goals. And so it's really hard to say, I'm going to be a professional basketball player. Okay, that's really awesome. But what are the smaller steps that'll help you get there? So here's an example, like I said about the basketball. It could be anything. You know, I can stay healthy and sleep well because I know that's going to be important for my health. I can learn more about the sport. Maybe I'll study something, or I'll ask a basketball player, or I'll watch a documentary, or, you know, follow the life of LeBron James. I don't know. Number 3, you practice every day for a set amount of time at the same time. Goes back to that routine and structure. Also, you know, ask your family if it's feasible, or if you can join a team or a league, or play with your neighborhood friends at the basketball courts at the park. So always think about breaking that big goal into achievable if you think about it. So it's like, my goal is to climb Mount Everest. Well, I can't just go to Mount Everest and climb it. I have to think about what I need to do to get there. So think about it like a ladder or some steps, and it'll help you kind of make the goal more achievable. Number 4, it's important to think about what your response is when an obstacle comes up. They say 90% of goals are not achieved because obstacles come in the way and then people just give up. So we have to anticipate something happening for our goal to kind of stop or kind of slow down. And we need to say, well, instead of giving up, let's come up with a plan. Can I ask someone for help? What's going to help keep me motivated and encouraged? I find that when I set a goal, I like to kind of be mindful and close my eyes and think about how it'll feel when I'm at my goal. And then I start to feel those things or see myself in that situation. And that really helps me stay motivated. Like I said before, visual learners, you write your goal down and you post it somewhere. I just actually made this recommendation to a 14-year-old client of mine a couple weeks ago. Their goal was to have better study habits. So we said, we're gonna write some sort of like, you know, goal and post it next to the laptop. We're gonna post it in the bedroom, and it'll be like, you know what, write down your notes, or like study for at least 2 hours a day or something like that. And so that way they can see it and it's right there and it's visual, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And remember, you're capable of being determined and persistent with the help of Allah. So always ask for the help of Allah in your daily dua. You know, Allah help me with my goal. Allah help me achieve this. You know, if it's gonna make me a better person, then make it easy for me. Just keep that constantly in mind. So here's my goal setting worksheet. Now it's your turn. Look at it for a minute. I wish there was a way to share this. Maybe I'll send it to Ms. Hanan or Shukriya or Hamza, and we can kind of put it somewhere. But this is a really basic goal planner. On the top, it says your goal, and you should try to have a deadline because it'll help you achieve it. Why is this goal important to you? Things that I need to achieve my goal. Steps, so these are the smaller steps to achieve your goal, and then just observations that you have and how you keep yourself motivated. If you guys want to write this down or screenshot it or whatever, it's just a good way to think about goals. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about personal goals, but it really does help, and it could be any goal, really any goal. I think I'm gonna skip this just for time purposes. It's just a little cute talk about kids setting goals, but that's all right. You guys don't need to see that very much. So we don't need that. Okay.
Okay, again, so self-care. So at the end of the day, how do we do all this, right? How do we achieve these goals? How do we achieve mindfulness? It's really about self-care, right? So like, however, I'm sure you guys will see, like, have Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat or whatever it may be, and it'll show you like expectation or reality, or like they'll show you like this beautiful like kitchen that's so amazing, and then they'll show you like the background and how like everything's on the floor, or this like amazing like model, and then it'll show that she's literally like at a certain angle. So it's really, everything that you see is really not that true. So reminding ourselves that we're all human, we all have flaws is really important. So you want to be looking like this perfect little, she has everything balanced, but reality is that, and reality is about 90% of us, right? What we see is really not what we get. And I want to go back to something that Miss Alaa said that was really great about sometimes when we do good, it's literally do good, feel good. So when you do good for others or anything of that sort, you truly feel good. You get that rush, right? So, and it makes you want to do more and more. And then because we said self-care, that's actually in Islam, right? So this is kind of like a little small excerpt of what self-care in Islam looks like. We talked about like even following the Prophet's steps in everything. Actually, we already know that following his sunnah is one of the most important things that we can do, and he was the best example to follow, right? When it comes to everything, even the things he ate. Like I said before, like we're seeing studies that show that now we should be eating these things, right? But we're always in this go 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 mode that we forget to eat like healthy, or we forget to sleep right. Especially with everything that's going on. I mean, I really feel for your generation. Everything around you is literally almost against everything that we grow up to want to do, even against your own deen, right? Everything around you, everything is hypersexualized. Everything is about, being in a relationship, or, being, what's the word, daring and trying new things out, which most of the time is not even, it's haram or whatever it may be. And it's literally all around you. You open Snapchat and you see things and you see images that literally you can't erase from your brain. So you guys are living in a very hard time, but at the same time, with everything, like when we think about 2020 and everything that's happened this year, there's also a lot of good things that happened. Even with BLM, this was a moment where everyone just kind of stuck together and fought for what's right. Even though it's sad to know that in 2020, we're still having these things happen. Going back to COVID, people are going through a universal feeling, the fear, the anxiety, the worry, hope. Those are all universal feelings, and it's worldwide. Everyone's feeling these feelings. And then just going back to our roots in Islam, really taking that time to pray, to make dua. Again, I know we keep repeating that stuff, but even me as an adult, like I lose track of these things. Like I forget to even do these things sometimes, even though it's something that I've been doing my whole life. But sometimes I rush into it. Like I pray and I'm like, do I even know what surah I did? Like I was in such a rush. Why? Like this is literally my time with Allah, and I'm not even taking advantage of it. This is the time where he's listening to me, and he is my counselor. He is my therapist. I can literally tell him anything, and this is my time. I have 5 dates with Allah, and I don't even make the best out of it, right? But if you're going on a date with your friends, or better be your friends, not the other gender, but if you're doing that, you dress up, you look good, you look cute. And, you know, when we pray, half the time, like you're just like in a hurry, you know, half the time your wudu is not even, you didn't even make wudu the right way. But we forget, I think we even forget that there's death. So even reminding ourselves of these things, not to get depressed, not to get anxious, not to worry, but to focus on how, like, for example, when Ms. Alaa said, setting those goals, like, okay, I want to read Surah Al-Baqarah within the week. So maybe I can split it up into, you know, this many pages, this many ayahs, or whatever it may be. And then when you do get to that goal, you want to stay motivated, reward yourself. I mean, like, I have an extra few, I don't know, screen time, or I'm going to go get some ice cream, whatever it may be. And maybe get your friends on it. Sometimes we motivate each other. Friends can either, you know, help you go the wrong way, or you guys can help each other move forward positively in a way where you're encouraging each other, right? You guys can text each other, FaceTime each other, like, hey, did you get to the surah? What did you, okay, if we all do it, then on Friday, let's go out for whatever. You guys, I don't know what's cool right now, but you get what I'm saying. So I just want you guys to know that you have so many people out here that really want to help. And there's anything, even after this ends, you guys, you know, if Ms. Hanan wants to, you know, share our information, if you guys really need anything, like, we're here. And I do want to say that I'm really proud of you guys, because you guys have been going through so much more than, I mean, I thought I had it hard growing up in America, but you guys have it 10 times hard being a Muslim in America. And like it says, it's okay to ask for help. Ask for help. Take advantage of that. It doesn't make you less of a person if you ask for help. And again, going back to things universal, you are not the only one going through these things. And sometimes, like these webinars, or, you know, talking to your friends, you might notice that, oh my God, you're going through that? Yeah, I'm going through that as well. And sometimes when we feel like others are going through what we're going through, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be the same exact, you know, maybe somebody's going through a death in the family while someone else like lost a job. You're still kind of going through grief, right? So you empathize and you sympathize with each other. I think that's really important. And being social is also very important. I know, like, at this age, your friends are everything to you, and we feel like our families or our parents or our siblings don't get us. So make sure you are continuing to have these healthy relationships. That is, you know, if you're stuck in the house, FaceTime, whatever it may be. There's a lot of things that we can do. Just, you know, staying positive, I think at the end of the day, is what's important. And I know it's really hard to stay positive sometimes, but just kind of focusing on what you can control is really important.
Yes, like Ms. Zuhaira emphasized, seek help. I don't know, like sometimes I feel like as a teenager, you think you've got everything under control and it's embarrassing to even talk to someone. Maybe we don't have people in our families that are open and non-judgmental, but we really need to find someone that can listen to us. It could be a teacher at your school, you know, a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, someone that you really trust that you can talk to besides mom and dad. Those are also very good people to talk to. But when you talk, especially to an adult, because sometimes we can talk to our friends about something and they might not know the answer because, like Ms. Zuhaira said, they're going through the same thing. So we need the insight of an adult and the advice of an adult that they can help us through something difficult. You know, just know that when you isolate, you go through something alone, it's not productive and it's not healthy. So please reach out, please talk to someone. And they want to be there for you. They want to help you. They want to listen to you. Nothing is too embarrassing. Nothing is shameful. You know what? They were teenagers once, and I'm sure that they went through some of the similar things that you've gone through. So please try to reach out. And I have my contact information at the end. I'm not sure if, I mean, that's something you guys can think about. Even, you know, I'd love to hear from you, but please talk to your parents about that first. So just to wrap up, so we have to remember that our lives are a wonderful amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Might not feel like it, but Allah has placed us on this earth for a special purpose, right? We have a legacy, we have something to share, something to give. Your life is meaningful and impactful to others. And please remember that we are all connected and we're all here to help each other and lift each other up. So let's make positive differences in our own lives and in the lives of others. So this is really cute. Sorry, I like the meme stuff. So just wanted to say that you are important, you matter, and you are wonderful. Please remember that, okay? You guys are all amazing kids, and I just want to thank you for your initiative on this, for being who you are. May Allah reward you and help you and guide you, you and your families. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah khairan to both of the speakers. I'm sure I, as well as most of the audience, I'm sure have benefited from you guys' words of inspiration and advice. And we appreciate you being here tonight and sharing your expertise. Jazakallah khairan. So now we will just have like a short Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions, you can send them directly to the host, which is Miss Alaa, and she can read aloud the question and you guys can just, it'll be a routine.
All right, I already have one question. It says, please share some activities kids can do during this time to stay active. Unfortunately, with schools closed, there's a lot of time for kids to play video games or surf the net. Or the importance of being active. What do you say, Ms. Zaira?
You know, it's so easy to say that we're bored and just turn on the TV, like we all do it. But there's so many amazing things out there. I think there's a lot of DIYs. Look it up. I did this with my students. We did like DIY stress balls. And again, I'll go back to cliche, but oh my God, it's fun. And you could do things that are, you know, around the house. And depending on what age you have, like if it's elementary, there's a lot of sensory things you can do. I don't know if this is a parent or a student asking, but there's a lot of sensory, easy things you can do. If you guys like, we can send you like a list. You know, have them play with dough, have them make the slime. There's like DIY slime. Sensory, there's a lot of ASMR out there too. So again, that goes back to sound. And by the way, slime, like we did that with our high schoolers and they loved it. We also did like DIY, like planting. Salah, you said you built a garden. That's very therapeutic. We also did like game board. I mean, like literally playing games. People forget that they can do that. Reading a book. I know for some people that's not that. Going out. Again, it really depends, I think, on the age, but there are just universal things that you can do. Getting physical, going outside on a bike, playing basketball, whatever it may be. But just literally go online, DIYs. There's so many things out there. Get your kids in the kitchen, have them bake with you, have them make food with you. Again, going back to sensory, that's very relaxing. Certain sounds, you know, maybe put the Quran on, maybe start a routine where you guys are praying together, you read the surah together, or you make dua together. Or you can have them make like tasbih, masabih. I mean, there's so many ideas. I can go on and ramble, but it's also about you guys being creative and coming up with ideas as well. And I think we did a kind challenge where you just pick one thing and one person that you do something kind to, whether maybe it's a grandparent or a person you haven't talked to in a while, pick up the phone or send them an actual handwritten card. Or if you're at Starbucks, maybe pay for the person behind you, things like that.
Okay, we have another question. It says, what do you do when you can't explain how you feel to an adult? What if they don't understand? Any thoughts, Ms. Zaira?
I think everyone's different. For sometimes even when I'm working with students and they don't want to say, I don't know if they're shy, or again, sometimes you don't know how you feel. I have them write it down. Sometimes it's like kind of that comfort zone where you're writing it and then you just give it to somebody and they can read it. That's like if it's embarrassing or you don't want to talk about it. I also do where I know this is like very, you know, simple, but giving a pen and a paper and crayons or markers, and sometimes just being able to like express your feelings through art is very helpful. And maybe finding someone in the middle, like a mediator that you feel comfortable talking to, and then maybe they can help. I don't know, Ms. Alaa, I'm sure you have other methods that you've tried or any other advice.
Yeah, this one's a really hard one. And I tried to kind of allude to it, that sometimes we might have parents or family members that aren't willing to listen or really hear us. We do have to choose our battles. Like Ms. Zaira said, find someone like a mediator or someone at your school that you can talk to, like a teacher or, you know, a principal or a counselor. They're there to help and support you. Journal. I recommend that if you have a journal, you can let out, it's very therapeutic to just like let loose on a journal, like write your feelings, write your emotions, write your hopes and dreams and wants and fears. And so sometimes just the process of that hand-brain connection of just writing something and seeing it helps us feel a little better as well if we don't have anybody that we can go to talk to. You know what, don't beat yourself up about it. You know what, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this qadr and we need to accept it, but we can find other ways to take care of ourselves and be heard in other positive ways. Choose your battles. Unfortunately, this isn't something that they might change, but it might be helpful to think about their motivation or understand their hesitation about things and maybe just approach them in maybe a different way. Like, don't fight them on this. Say, Mama, Baba, I would like maybe 10 minutes of your time. Can we have a family meeting? I really want to share something important to you. Please let me know. So you kind of give them more control of the situation and you just are very, specific about what you need to talk about.
I wanted to mention one thing that I completely just realized I forgot to put the slide on the signs to look out for. So with all these like feelings that you guys are feeling and stuff like that, I do, and I know Miss Alaa can add on, there are a few like signs that like, or things that you're going through that, you shouldn't really wait on. I mean, there are things that are kind of like red flags that you should really, really seek out for help. And even if it's like someone you don't want to talk to and you only have your parent or your sibling, please reach out, because sometimes you just need that immediate help. And we can have a completely different webinar about that, but when it's like really affecting your sleep or your eating, or you're thinking of hurting yourself or hurting others, don't wait on that. I just want to make sure that you guys like reach out to somebody. That's really, really important. And we're all humans, and so we deal with that even if we are in an Islamic school. Those are still valid feelings and emotions and even situations that we do go through.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jazakallah khair for bringing that up. Yeah, those are emergency things, and we should definitely not assume that we should not talk about those. Yeah. So yeah, may Allah help you with that. Any suggestions for setting a goal, how to achieve? I keep going back to the old ways after a couple of days. Would you like to say something about that, Ms. Zaira?
I think that's your forte, Ms. Alaa.
Okay, so yes, you brought up a very important point. You keep going back to the old ways. Yes, because like Ms. Zaira said, a habit takes about 21 to 30 days to make or break. So if we're trying to do something, yes, of course, it's going to be like really exciting the first day, like starting a diet. Yeah, I'm so motivated, no carbs for me. And then the second day, like, oh, I really miss eating donuts. And then their third day, and then it's just kind of, okay, back to where we were. So you have to like really focus on the end game, right? You have to focus on getting done. You have to focus on your just how it's going to feel and what it's going to look like for you. Refer to those 4 points, like I said. Break that goal into smaller steps and try to achieve those steps a little bit easier. It might be helpful than going just to vision the bigger goal. So think about those 4 steps. Search goal setting for teens. There's something called a SMART goal. That's something that is achievable. Set those times for you, and just remember, like, it's gonna take time. It's gonna be hard. Anticipate those speed bumps, anticipate those obstacles, and then when the more prepared you are for those obstacles, I think the better it is for you to realize that, yeah, I'm gonna have to work harder to stay on track, inshallah. Time for more questions or no?
Yeah, is there a lot more questions, or is it just anybody has?
Sorry,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I said if anybody has any more questions, I think it's fine to just continue.
We have one question. It says, how do we find people to talk to? I want to hear from you guys. How do we find people to talk to? Any suggestions from the chat? Okay, so people are coming in with ideas. You can talk to your parents, good friends, people you can trust, find a trusted person. Yeah. I'm sure you'll find best friends. Yeah, you can find people to talk to. Know that like if their intentions are good and they can be trusted, definitely talk to those people. Someone says you can find people by telling your parents first, but if they don't understand, talk to another trusted adult. Yes, thank you for that suggestion. There are people, if you, I don't know if everybody here goes to Islamic school, but if you're like at a public school, you can find a counselor or a teacher. Someone saying talk to siblings, older siblings. That's a great idea. Someone said Brother Diwan is always there for those things. All right, Brother Diwan, got some pressure on you. We have parents, aunts, uncles, your favorite teacher, older siblings. Someone is suggesting that. I hope these are helpful because these are all great ideas. Jazakumullah khair for those ideas.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have for questions right now. So now we would like to invite the principal with the Diwan to just share a few words to conclude and with a dua, if you're ready for the Diwan.
Assalamualaikum. Alhamdulillah. Wow, that was a good session. It was really, really good. I made it a point as a family for all of us to sit together and listen. And it made it easier for me to invite my kids, especially because of you, Sister Zaira. They were really, really excited to see you and listen to you again. And I think I'm gonna have them call in and chat with you, inshallah. Sister Alaa, subhanallah, jazakallahu khair for doing this. I think you being local, we need to use you more, inshallah. But I know it's not easy with your daily occupation, busy at the school. But we will find ways, inshallah, to utilize you more at the school, especially inshallah. We're hoping that things are going to change in the next few months, and hopefully, bi'idhnillah, we will be able to have full-time school again. There were so many things. So, I mean, at the end of the day, right, my only advice to all of the students and even as us as adults is something simple, right? There are so many powerful things that were talked about today. But at the end of the day, it's up to us, right? So no matter, we can go to all kinds of experts like we're doing today. We can go to Allah directly himself and read his words and his message from the Quran. But unless we really reflect on it and we're motivated to do something positive or make a change, it'll make it very complicated to do something. So each one of us now, what was mentioned here about goal settings, about things that are within our power and within our control to do, not to worry about things that are beyond our reach or things that are not changeable. So as far as even mental health is concerned, right? Mental health, there are elements that are controllable. There are elements that are at our own human level, and there are elements that are beyond our control, that are causing complications and difficulties within our emotions. But to a certain extent, our emotions, our feelings are, to some extent, a consequences of our own thought process, how we think, how we look at life, how we look at the world around us. And the way we see things is going to evoke certain feelings within us. And those feelings combined with emotions will define how we perceive the world and how we move forward. So, during this time, I think this COVID, while subhanAllah, many people have suffered and struggled, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for everyone who's had a hardship through this, as far as health is concerned, or economic hardships that people have really suffered as far as work is concerned. But at the same time, this has been a blessing, hopefully, for us to self-reflect, to spend that time and see who we really are and what happens when circumstances change and how do we react to it. Social media, generally, we always talk about how social media it comes with a huge baggage, just like everything else. Right? So since most of us are on social media, and especially as far as, and if our parents allow you to be on social media, then I would invite you to take advantage of social media rather than do what everybody else does with social media, right? So for majority of the world, Social media is a vice. Social media is a tool that is used to create mental health issues, to create more problems, to make life worse than it already is. But at the same time, you know, our like what they were just mentioning, Sister Zohaira and Sister Alaa, about Yaqeen Institute. Sheikh Omar Suleiman is on social media. Imam Suhaib Webb is on social media. Dr. Yasir Qadi is on social media. You know, Imam Taha here is on social media. So we look at these people on social media, but they're not suffering from being on social media. Why? Because they're wiser. They're taking advantage of social media rather than social media consuming them and controlling them. And then as a result, it becomes a problem and a liability for us as individuals. So tap into these individuals on your Instagram and on your Snapchat, and for the old people on the Facebook, subhanallah. But anyway, I don't want to turn this into my extended lecture or khatira. I have so a lot has been said by our experts. May Allah bless them all. I really, really wanted to say thank you, Sister Alaa, for being here. And Sister Zohaira, it was absolutely wonderful, wonderful. I was trying to count how many years we worked together. I think roughly 7 years at BHA and 2 at IQA, I believe. So 9 years, 9 years of you know, working together, and it was great to learn from you and benefit from you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. May Allah bless Brother Maher. You know, Hadi was looking at a picture on that Ayman Talib posted of the Holy Land thing, and he was saying, "Is that Brother Mahir in that picture? You know, the picture being circulated right now." And I said, "Yes, that's Mahir." So may Allah bless you. May Allah bless your families. Our National Honor Society, you know, amazing students. We're blessed here in San Diego. Besides what Zohaira said about great weather and an amazing landscape, we're blessed with awesome students, and even a better staff, subhanAllah, that are guiding and supporting these students to grow up and do significant things and organize and put together events like this to help each other. So thank you. May Allah bless you. All of our students. Thank you, Shukriya. Thank you, Sister Hanan. May Allah bless you. And the best thing I can say is Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you all. Did you, Shukriya, did you want me to conclude with a dua, or do you have something else?
No, you can conclude with a dua, inshallah.
Okay. So inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during this time to keep our hearts open, keep our minds open, to bring our hearts together. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to understand our strengths. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that through that discovery of our strengths, to keep us humble and help us to enable us to capitalize on our strengths for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask Allah azza wa jal to help us to discover our weaknesses and to keep us and keep our weaknesses from bringing us down, rather to help us successfully continue to battle our weaknesses and our obstacles, to continue to try to overcome them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be a source of goodness for others. We ask Allah to fill our hearts with His love, with His mercy, with His guidance, and with His faith. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take that which He fills our hearts with and pass it on to the rest of humanity, as people are desperate for guidance and desperate for love and desperate for mercy. So we ask Allah to let us be a source of love, mercy, and guidance for the humanity. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Jazakumullah khair, guys. Awesome job, our students, and thank you to our guests and our respectable teachers.
Thank you. Before we end the night, I just wanted to conclude real quick. I wanted to just show my greatest gratitude to all of the NHS members who have been working hard in putting this together. I'm just going to go through the names. We have our president, Hamza Dalul, secretary, Hayya Belbisi, treasurer, Salim Abdi, and our incredible hardworking members, Ibrahim Khan and Madina Mustafa. Thank you guys all for putting this together and for coming tonight. And of course, Ms. Hanan, our advisor, thank you for being the source of guidance for us all. And for all of our attendees, you will receive a survey either tonight or tomorrow, inshallah. Please feel free to let us know your opinion about the webinar and how we can serve you better in the future, inshallah. Thank you guys all and have a great rest of your winter break. Assalamu alaikum.